that's why they make the powder for that.
So it's not just in liquid form anymore?
No, you can get it in the powder form too.
Interesting. I guess you could probably move a lot more of it that way. Never mind. The light's on. Hey.
Yeah, my lights are on. Good job. Way to use your eyeballs.
Thank you. I just got them. They're new.
Yo. Oh, they finally came in from Amazon?
Yeah. Costco actually had a better deal on
Costco.
Yeah.
They got a good optometry department, so
you can buy eyeballs in bulk.
Oh, how many did you get?
Bulk number.
Whatever the bulk number of eyeballs would be.
Yeah, more than just your typical, drugstore number of eyeballs.
Yeah. Walgreens only sells them in like packs of 4, so
it's such a ripoff.
I know. I hate it. Oh yeah, light. What light? Oh, that light. Light.
The light. The red means go.
It doesn't help that I'm colorblind.
Yeah, we know.
I'm not. It just doesn't help that I'm not.
Oh.
Yeah, think about that one.
I'm really trying.
Don't. It'll only hurt.
It does.
How are you today, Stoop?
Oh, the sun is shining on all of God's creation, and I am #blessed to be alive. I'm good. Everything's good. Had another unfortunately timed bowel movement right before this that I almost didn't make it here on time, but here we are.
Here we are.
Raring to go, ready, and cinch it up, hunker down, etc. How about you, bud? What's is going on?
I don't know. This, I guess, is going on. You and I talking to each other.
Yeah, it's going great.
It's really doing good. We're very, very good at conversation.
Yeah, it feels very natural.
Yeah, it flows. It runs. It's like a river. It's beautiful. And I'm the guy who's not wearing any pants fishing in it, but I'm doing okay today. You said the sun is. I don't see the sun, but it is also kind of hard to see out of these windows. But it was nice out today. It wasn't too hot, so that was good for my 4 minutes of outside that I went.
4 minutes, a long time for you.
It really is. It really is. I don't like outside. It hurts. It hurts out there. My couch.
Yeah, I was just moist all day. Just wet all day.
Were you swimming?
Nope.
Oh.
Unless, I don't know, at what point is it swimming? Because like if the atmosphere is 60% water, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if the air is so humid that it, it's kind of like swimming already.
We'll have to call somebody about that and find out.
Yeah, we'll have to call science. Can we get science on the phone, Jamie?
Somebody call science.
Jamie, call science.
Jarvis, call science.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, Stu, what are we doing? What are we here for?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, theys and thems, this is Talking Out Our Ass, the only bi-weekly talk show selling weapons to both sides. Each time we come on and do this, your host, Sam Reeves, alongside yours truly, Stu Kid, we have a guest on, and we conduct an interview with this guest. However, there's a catch, there's a twist, which is that as of this present moment, you're watching this live for God knows what reason, and we don't know what this episode is going to be about. We tell the guest, hey, you come prepared with a topic that you'd like to talk about, but don't tell us what it is until we're live in front of the masses, the throbbing, girthy masses. And then you tell us what the topic is, and then we have to try and formulate an interview on the spot. And this was Sam's idea, so blame him. You can send your hate mail to theallsportscene@gmail.com. Haven't checked that in a while. We probably got to clear the cache or something. I don't know.
Oh, it's pretty full of hate mail.
That's good. That's where we want it. That's where we want it. Yeah.
We're over the limit. hate mail.
People keep saying that to me. Anyway, yeah. So bring a guest. Did you bring a guest?
Why is it? Oh, I didn't realize this was a bringer show. Oh shit. Hang on, Mom. Oh no, she's not home. Oh, wait. I booked somebody. I did book somebody. Okay, cool. Whew. Close one.
Yeah, I'm relieved.
You look like it.
Hmm.
All right. You may know this person from Twitter. You might know them from, I don't know, them being a president of their own company. You probably have to deal with her husband way more than you want to. She's a fantastic woman. She's the den mother of the 108. It's Kirsten Ramos, aka Mrs. Beefloaf, everybody. Welcome to the show, Kirsten.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me, guys. This is great. I mean, I'm already starting to sweat. There's a lot of throbbing and girthiness talk, so this is gonna be one for the record books. I can already feel it.
We sure hope so. I mean, we're live to millions of people, so every show.
Millions.
Definitely tens of thousands.
Definitely up there.
Absolutely.
Every week's a blessing. How are you today, Kirsten?
I'm doing well. This is Stoop was talking about the weather and being this weather's perfect. It is great. It is wonderful. I repotted a tomato plant today. I mean, I got out there in that sun. I was here for it. So I'm doing great.
The sun is scary. Hide from the sun.
No way, you need that natural vitamin D. It's not the same when you take a supplement. Get that natural vitamin D. 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, I got plenty personally. I got plenty at the White Sox game on Saturday. I got stocked up on that for the week. But yeah, I mean, I'll give you that it was certainly more tolerable out there today.
Definitely was.
Fair enough.
Not gonna go so far as to say nice, but like it's I'm real picky. It's got to be like between 70 and 80. And
so what you're saying is like the 4 days in Chicago where it falls in that general area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah. My season is like half a week on either end of summer here.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be your thing. Well, Kirsten, welcome to the show. So what are we going to be interviewing you about today?
You are going to be interviewing me on networking.
Networking? Oh my goodness, that's kind of a weird foreshadow from what we were talking about earlier.
It certainly was. That's why I was laughing extra hard, Sam, because when you were saying I need to meet people, I was like, "Oh, we're gonna talk about that tonight."
All right, networking.
Networking is sort of a broad umbrella.
Yes.
So what?
I don't think that's the definition.
What comes to mind for you when you say networking? Like, what is?
I think the importance of relationship building and how networking can really help to open up new and different doors than what you may not have thought of at first.
Okay, so give me a first example of this in your personal life or business life, or what comes to mind?
Sure. So I am part of several different networking groups, and a lot of times you don't realize when you talk about yourself and you tell people what you do and what you're passionate about, how many people say like, "Oh, wait a minute, I actually know someone who needs that service." Or, "Hey, can I introduce you to my sister-in-law because she works for a company that's having a bunch of issues with their management." So it's amazing how, a lot of times it can open up doors that you wouldn't have walked through if you didn't know the person that you ended up meeting at a networking event or through someone else.
So it's the professional way of saying, I got a guy.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I like that. Yeah.
I got a guy for that.
Accumulating guys. Really, guy accumulation is the name of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We've officially rebranded networking.
I got a guy. Networking.
Put that on your business card.
There you go. Yeah.
Professional guy accumulator.
I feel like that would cause issues for
you
my marriage
do you
and
think that's a
everybody
problematic
else.
wording of it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
I've got a person, maybe.
There
That's
we
probably
go.
better anyway.
Oops, all guys. Uh, so in your opinion, is there like the best place to network with somebody, or is it just, a general broad thing for like anytime you're out, like you mentioned, like, hey, my sister does this, or hey, my friend does this, or is there like a certain area you feel it's the best place for it?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I feel like this is something different for everybody. It's more of where you feel comfortable, the spaces that you know, you feel comfortable sharing or you feel comfortable asking someone for contact information. A lot of times, what I found is that joining groups that aren't cutthroat, and what I mean by that is there are certain networking groups or organizations where it's more like you need to refer 5 people by the next time we meet. Well, the problem with that is that it's not genuine. It's more that I'm now referring people just to get my quota, and it's not natural. So, one of the networking groups that I lead on the south side of Chicago, we're all about relationship building. We're all about let's get to know the members of this group before we start saying, okay, yeah, let's refer you. Because what the most comfortable situation is one that's organic and one that's natural so that you feel comfortable saying, I've got a guy. And that it's not like, oh, hey, hi, family member. Can I just introduce you to this person? Because I have a quota I need to meet. So, I look at it as it's not necessarily the place, but it's more of how one goes about it.
That makes sense.
So I'm an idiot. So this is kind of nebulous to me. So when you talk about a networking group that you lead, these are people meeting in a physical space?
Yes.
That seems rare in this day and age.
Yeah. In fact, the networking group, I'll give them a shameless plug, is called Women Belong. And what's interesting about it is that I've been part of a group that is online currently. So they have different groups depending on where you live. But I joined a group that was online because originally there wasn't one near me. And I felt like, hey, I really clicked with these women. And it was great. But I decided, hey, I want to start something on the south side. I want to get people in the Bridgeport neighborhood to join. I want to meet my neighbors. I want to support my community. And so I opened up, and by opened, we go to a physical space. We go to a local family-owned restaurant, every other week, and we do our networking there. But it's more that I felt like I wanted to have that in-person connection because a lot of the things I do are online. A lot of the work I do even is a lot of my clients don't necessarily want me in person. I take offense, but that's,
Yeah, I was gonna say that's rude.
I know, but a lot of companies are hybrid, or they're remote first companies now.
Mhm.
So in order for them to get everybody in the same room, it has to be a virtual one. So no, I love having the in-person. It's great to be able to see people. Plus the food is delicious at the place we go. So it's a lot of fun.
And it's also easier to get the body language from people that you're talking to
Totally.
and get the tone of the room and everything. So you're not just blabbering on about something that you're like, they're definitely disinterested.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah. I mean, especially because you can only see someone from here up.
mhm.
You have no idea if they've got a phone in their hands.
Right.
I mean, you can guess, right? You can see they're no longer looking at you or the screen. They're doing something. But it's more that when you're in person, you feel a different energy.
For sure. Do you, sorry, go ahead, Stu.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Is it only professional networking that you get this group together for?
Yeah. So what's interesting is that it doesn't need to be a lot of, for this specific group that I mentioned, women are in business, usually for themselves, a lot of women business owners. But I look at networking as, take a tailgate. you can get to know someone. And it doesn't mean that we need to talk about business and talk about, oh, what is it that you do outside of this tailgate? But it's more so if I know you and someone says, hey, do you know someone I could talk to about coming on a show where they don't prepare at all, but I get to bring a topic and they have to ask questions to me and I get to share my area of genius. I would say, like, I've got two guys for that. I know this. So you never know who you're going to meet. Case in point, if anyone follows, and if you don't, you should. Kate Dunlap. Guess what? She reached out to my husband and said, hey, I have a great guest for you to have on your show. And my husband said, why don't you ask my wife? Because she went to Iowa. This is a great interview. So she connected me with Christine Brennan of USA Today. And I had the pleasure of interviewing her. Someone I would have never even thought I could have the chance to interview, but someone I met through White Sox Twitter connected me, and it was not business related whatsoever.
Yeah. That's so crazy how small a world it really is.
Indeed.
And I do want to just echo what both of you said too about the energy being completely different when you actually interact with somebody in person versus having the, digital barrier between you. Because especially when it comes to like just typing, right? Because everyone types a little bit differently. I personally have always, maybe even neurotically, typed exactly the way that I speak, punctuate, exactly where my pauses would be. Like, that's just how my brain works, but not everyone works that way. And I've seen, I can't even tell you how many times, especially for the years that I worked a remote job, things get misinterpreted, or someone says something to you with either no punctuation or seemingly random or incorrect punctuation. Mm-hmm. And you take it a certain way where it's like I've had people that feel like two completely different people to me. There's the person that is sending me messages during the workday on Teams, and then there's the person who I see in the office. And the person I see in the office is great. Yes. The person messaging me is an asshole. And
the funny part about that is that they may not even intend.
Oh, I'm sure they don't. Yeah.
But it's the way we read it, because we have no tone. We have no context except for these words that are typed out. Maybe, maybe they have a period at the end. Maybe they have an exclamation point. Mm-hmm. Maybe you have a history with them where you automatically have a tone that you hear in your mind that isn't there for this situation, but you automatically put it into this context, which isn't necessarily there.
Yeah, if you're messaging me on Teams or you send me an email and there's a period in there, I automatically assume you're mad at me.
Right.
Or I did something wrong. Or you're being short with me.
Yep.
There's also absolutely, and we may have touched on this in prior episodes, but there's totally like a generational divide in written communication styles and preferences.
Yes.
Because like Sam and I are of an age where we're, the cell phones, texting, and, typing became sort of the primary mode by which most of us communicate while we were sort of coming of age. And so we break our thoughts up by hitting enter, so to speak. Right. Whereas someone a little bit older who had to send long form email or regular mail, write an actual letter, will give you a fucking essay, right? And I'm fascinated by that kind of thing. So yeah, just to echo what you guys are saying, actually talking to someone face to face is the only way to eliminate these variables and stuff. And it might still be awkward, and the person might be an asshole, but this is how you find out.
Yep, I agree.
That was.
You use all caps. You're yelling at me.
Yeah, I was going to mention the all caps people.
Yes.
I love that so much.
And I've worked with a lot of people, with different client groups that say, oh, they'll even put in their email signature line of, if this is in all caps, please forgive it. I work in a program with all caps.
Mm.
But I'm also like, but don't you proofread your email?
Exactly.
But maybe not. Maybe that's why there's the disclaimer.
The answer is no. They do not. They do not. No one is proofreading shit. There's just no way in hell
Yeah.
anyone's ever reading back the shit that they've written to you. It's unbelievable, the kinds of things that I've seen. And it's always sort of staggering when I guess a lot of this is me referencing the remote job that I did, but it's always staggering to me when like someone who's like a high level at a company or someone who is supposedly like very educated, very qualified, has seemingly no command of the English language. It's like, how does anything matter then? Because I don't know.
I guess maybe they're used to an assistant typing everything out for them. Who knows?
Yeah, this is a common one that Sean says here. Like, people will spell your name wrong, or you'll spell like things that are in the email.
Right. That's oh god, yeah, I've seen that so many times where it's like, my name is in front of you as you are writing this. So if you are looking at the screen, you ought to get the name right.
The amount of times someone sends an email responding to my email saying Kristen, and I'm just like, you see my signature line. It does not say Kristen, but it's like they automatically don't read. They don't, people don't read all the time.
They see the first and last letter and they go Kristen.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So now in this scenario, like for networking, do you have like a specific opening that you usually do with people, or is it just kind of like how everything feels and flows with like how you're talking to people?
Yeah, I think what's interesting is different networking experiences are different. So, for the networking group I lead, we have kind of a set format, which is agenda, which everybody who's even a guest, they know about it ahead of time. There's no shock here. It's not a shocking event. But I will say that I think as a tip for anybody that's like, great, I'm going to go to a networking event and I don't know anyone, and I'm not sure what I'm going to say. I encourage people to sketch out, who are you? What are you passionate about? Not only what do I do? I think a lot of times people think of networking, and not to say that it can't be this way, because it is. Some groups are this way. But it's more that people want to hear what you're passionate about, and then you'll get into what it is that you do. I think the books Start With Why by Simon Sinek comes to mind, because it's people don't really care about what you do. They care about why you do. So thinking about starting with hey, I really help people communicate more effectively. I do personalized training and development and coaching. My name's Kirsten Ramos with Elevate Performance Solutions. So it becomes that you almost introduce yourself last, because you're talking about why you do what you do first. So, and I also I tell people, write it out, even though you're not going to read it. It's just
writing it. There's tons of science behind that. The writing it commits it to your brain, and it's uncanny. Sure. It's uncanny how you just answered the next question I was going to ask. Literally, I was writing it down as you're saying this, which what I wrote down is, what if I don't care? And this is like, I know it's funny, but it's an honest question, because what if someone tells me the thing they're passionate about, and I'm like, that is the dumbest shit. I couldn't possibly care about the thing that you're passionate about. Like, what do I do from there?
Yeah. I will tell you, not everybody's a winner. You can't, everybody that you meet is not going to be someone that you're like, oh, wow, what a connection. So powerful. I'm going to talk to this person every day of my life, or I'm going to refer this person. It's not like that. I would say asking them to tell you a little bit more about what it is that you're like, I don't care, but people love to talk about themselves. And if you get them talking, it's easier once they've shared to walk away from that. to
I
say
see.
like, hey, it's
Yeah.
been so great talking to you. I'm going to go mingle a little bit.
So for somebody who's, let's say, perhaps a bit neurodivergent and needs these things to be rigid, what you're saying is get a minimum word count out of the person so that you're not perceived as rude, and then
Yes.
you're socially allowed to move on rather than staring at the floor wondering, dear God, why did I say hello to this person? How do I get out of this?
You know, and another thing you can do is you can actually say, you know, hey, can you wait right here? I'm going to be right back. I see someone I just need to grab really quick, and I'll be back. 90% of the time, the person will be gone when you come back. They will start talking to someone else if you really do not want to talk to them. So you have options.
Yeah, it's like at a tailgate when this guy does that to you, you know.
I mean, it's like he hit the nail on the head. That's generally smile and nod. I mean, that's the only only strategy I know.
And then never come back.
I mean, I will say, if you don't have to even ask a question specific to that passion because you're not passionate about it.
Mhm.
If you just say like, oh, tell me more, give me an example of this. This, like, that will get them to talk, and they'll think you're so interested in them, and then they'll be done, and they'll have exhausted what they want to say, and they may hope. I mean, the hope is that they reciprocate and ask about you. It is amazing how many times people do not. There's a lot of times you can get into situations where you think, oh, well, certainly I've asked these questions, so they're going to ask me about myself. And then it does not happen. So.
Because I come back to what I don't care. I'm not asking. You asked me a question. I answered the question.
Yep.
End of transaction.
Right.
This episode could just be called Kirsten Tells Stoop How to Be a Human and Interact with Other Humans.
Hey, the fact that you were going to ask a question I already covered shows you're very human. So.
Yeah, the jury's still out on that.
Yeah, jury's still out.
He may be AI, or he may be cake. Who knows?
That's true.
No one's ever tried to cut into me.
Next tailgate.
I find that surprising.
Well, there's probably lots of stuff I'm forgetting, but probably, that's my brain protecting me or something. Or I'm AI, like she said. You never know.
Never know. Is there ever like a common ground that you've found when like it's difficult to get somebody to like express themselves or talk or try to get into a conversation? Is there anything you've ever found that just tends to work with everybody, or have you not really gotten that many?
Yeah, what's the hack?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think anytime you can ask people questions, I'm telling you, questions help people engage. People usually, I don't want to use absolutes and say people always or people never, but people usually want to talk about themselves. And if someone is asking them a question, that's usually when someone will say like, oh, wow, okay, you're taking an interest in me. That's not across the board. It's not always, but usually what I've found, I found more often than not, it's the inverse of this, where someone doesn't have or is in the moment lacking the emotional intelligence to say, I'm just talking really long and taking up a lot of time, when this is a networking engagement or this is an event where we're all at, and it's more that there's not a succinct, let me talk to you and let me move on because you're going to move on. And that's even in a structured networking environment where I a lot of times have to be like, okay, so let's move on to our next agenda item, because if we just let this one person speak and speak, we're not going to get everyone's input, and everyone, won't have the chance to share.
Yeah, that's a good way to handle that.
So what does the agenda look like? Like, what does a meeting look like?
Yeah, for the one that I keep referencing, it's nice because we have kind of some open just networking where we just talk and it's like, hey, how was your weekend? What'd you do? What's new? What are you doing this summer? And that's kind of the first 15 minutes where everybody can get seated and settled and order their food and their coffee and whatever they're eating and drinking. But then that next 15 minutes is we kind of just do a grounding exercise, usually led by the lovely Quernsey. She'll lead us in a grounding exercise, and then we go into a quote. And every month we have a theme. So every time we meet, we have a quote that we just talk about. Like, what does this bring up for you? And so, like, keep in mind, the first 30 minutes we're not even introducing ourselves. Then we get into introductions where we talk about, hey, who are the people you want to meet in business? Like, who are the people that you'd like to connect with that are people that are either in a tangential type of industry or someone that's in your direct industry or someone that is a good client for you. And then we go into either a workshop or a spotlight. So if I'm doing the spotlight, I might be talking about presentation skills and the importance of a ring light. If we have a workshop, it could be on a number of topics, which is great. We have a lot in the can, so to speak, that we can pull from. And it could be that it's how do we give and receive effective feedback, or how do we make sure that new people feel welcome and not feel that they're in this weird spotlight because they're new. And then we end with gratitude and brags. We talk about one thing we're grateful for, one thing we want to brag about ourselves. And a lot of times it's easy for people to say what they're grateful for. It's not as common for people to say, I'm awesome at this, or I did this amazing thing this week.
Well, right, because of the societal conditioning to
right,
not
totally
be boastful or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
But so I want to ask a lot of boring, specific questions about the demographic makeup of the group, and it's a bunch of bullshit. But more importantly, do you feel like, I guess, what I would be suspicious of in an environment like this is just as in business itself, where I feel a lot of the time people are just saying words and like none of it carries anything at all. Like, do you feel people taking to heart the concepts, or is it just is it just like a feedback loop? And I'm sure there's a mix of both, but
yeah, I think it's interesting because a lot of times different topics will resonate with different people. So I mean, that's one of the courses I teach for my clients. I do a lot of feedback. So for me, I'm very comfortable with the topic of feedback. Someone else may be like, oh, boring. Like, I don't give 2 cents about this stupid topic. But I think so. I do think there's just different people attached to different things. They're, kind of like people. They're not all going to be winners, but we try to vary it up a little bit. Does that help? Not really. Kind of.
I guess I want to know, do you personally get the feeling in these interactions like people are actually coming out of there having absorbed something, having learned something, versus kind of just saying the words back to you?
Yeah, no, thanks for clarifying that. A lot of times people will have discussion. Like, it won't be, if I'm leading something on feedback, it won't be just me, sage on the stage, sharing my wisdom. It will be more of a discussion of, hey, here's what I have on feedback. What are some experiences you've had? Where do you find that feedback's been helpful? Where have you kind of shunned feedback and realized probably should have taken that in a little better, or I should have reacted better? So I think because it's more of a discussion-based group, it's not even me saying, yeah, I lead this group. Yes, I'm the leader, but I'm more keeping the discussion going, as opposed to just speaking the whole time.
Okay, so that helps a little bit, because I guess I am overly sensitive maybe to like corporate language, corporate buzzwords.
Yeah.
The way that
synergy.
The way
be a team player.
The way that people can seemingly put together multiple sentences that provide zero concrete information.
Yes.
Is remarkable to a person like me, who everything I say is pretty fucking literal.
Yes. You know? Yeah. Yep. No, I agree. Like, I even talk about this in a lot of my classes, where don't put on someone's review, you're not being a team player. That tells them nothing.
Yeah, the fuck does that mean?
You have to say what a team player looks like and how they're not living up to it.
Just tell me what you want from me. Tell me what the fuck you want me to do, and then I'll do it.
Right. Yep. I agree.
Don't leave me unsupervised. I'm not allowed to be unsupervised. Somebody tell me what to do.
And I don't know if this falls under the same like general theme or not, but something that I've tried to live by for years now is that you have to ask for what you want, right? You could be told no, but
yes,
I find that if people get upset they're not getting XYZ that they want, and it's like, well, did you just ask? Did you ask for the thing?
Right.
You know, and so I don't know. I'm sure that different people have different sensitivities and difficulties doing different things. But for me, that's always number one, is if there's a thing that I want, a favor from a person or an item or whatever, the first step is just ask that person, hey, can we do this? Would you, you know, you got to start there.
Yes.
And it's crazy to me how I've watched people in real life run into problems just because they're afraid for whatever reason of just asking. Just you gotta ask for what you want. Maybe they'll tell you no, and then you gotta figure something else out, but you gotta ask.
You have to think about what's the worst thing that could happen.
Right.
They say no. Okay.
So you're in the exact same position you were before.
Right. Yep.
But now there's not this like floating thing of maybe this thing is possible. Maybe, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that goes the same for, you know, difficult conversations, right? Like, rip the Band-Aid off, just have it, then it's done. Then you can move on by getting that relationship where it needs to go.
Big proponent of that as well. Because the way that someone responds to, I don't want to say like maybe conflict is too hard a word. Confrontation, I don't know. The way that people react to you bringing an issue to them is going to tell you a lot about that person and whether or not it's worth your time to keep investing effort into maintaining any kind of relationship with the person. Am I hitting on what networking is, or am I just ranting about nothing?
No, I mean, it's really true. I mean, I think a lot of times, and people will find this when they try out different groups. I think, you know, there's, to use Sam's word, there's a synergy. No, I'm just kidding. I think, but truthfully, there's an energy to every group. And what I mean by that is that you truly do get a vibe. So when I go to different networking groups, I may be like, oh no, this is not for me. I don't like that these people immediately shoved a business card in my face before even talking to me. That's not the way I like to network, because even though I'm extroverted, I love walking around and talking to people. In a networking situation where I don't know anyone, I do not want to have to immediately go up and give my 30-second elevator pitch.
Right.
I'd rather talk to people, get to know them, and have it, again, I've used this word before, organically come up with, oh, you know, so what are you passionate about? What do you do? You know, those are the types of networking I like. So I do think not every space is for every person. And I mean that by they may be what, I may be welcome in any space, but it's not for me per se. If I'm not getting that vibe of this is natural, these people want to get to know me, not just what I can do for them.
Yeah. I took a sales workshop like, I don't know, 8 years ago, I think now, as I was going to do a sales job at my old place I used to work at. And like they were teaching you these horrible ways to approach people, like doing this secret handshake with the business card in your hand so that they have it when they leave the handshake. I was like, I want to hurt you people so bad now.
Yeah, I'm going to get an opinion off here. Anyone who is like a career salesperson, if you're a successful salesman or salesperson,
yep,
those people are psychopaths.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. If you've been doing sales for 40 years and you're good at it, or you enjoy it, or any combination of the two, get help. Because your entire profession,
great relationships.
No, but they're not. They don't give a shit about as soon as they get off the phone, they're talking shit about the person they were just talking to. I have a decade worth of sales jobs under my belt. I've seen these people in action. They don't. It's honest to God. It's like the definition of, I don't know if it's sociopathy or psychopathy. Pick one. It's insane though. There's got to be something wrong with you to be good at sales in at least in like formal mainstream corporate America as we all know it.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have to be so comfortable bullshitting and just outright, in many cases, lying to this person with whom you're quote unquote building a relationship. This is why I've never been a good salesperson. I can't do it. If I don't believe something, I can't say it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like in that workshop, they were just teaching all these like weird like ways to approach people, and I was like, oh my God, this is just hurting society.
Yeah, exactly. And in my experience, these things often, that kind of thing, workshop, sales training, etc., becomes like a miniature psychology course. Like, here's how because once you're hired by this company, now it's mask off. Hey, what we're really doing here is suckering people into buying this bullshit. So here's every possible way you can trick the person you're talking to into giving us their money.
Yeah, I think it's always weird when it has to be, like, oh, hand the business card in the hand. Like that's very weird and not effective. And it's creepy because then it's like, whoa, what's I'm shaking your hand and now there's something in my hand. So
ow, you gave me a paper cut, dick.
Yeah, it's really weird.
If I'm taking your hand and you're putting something in my hand, it had better be drugs or there's going to be a problem.
Or money.
Right, yes. Which I'll spend on drugs.
Right. Who wouldn't?
It should be a 1-for-1. I should have money. You should have drugs.
We're exchanging something in the handshake.
Exchanging the handshake.
That's right.
So how long ago did you start doing this? Like, have you always been like in a networking environment, or did you open something in the last few years you decided to want to do?
Definitely in the last few years. I've had my own business for nearly 9 years, but I would say even when I started my business, it wasn't like, oh, hey, I need to go out and network so that people can hire me. I kind of felt like, networking, I hate it. It's so creepy. It's so impersonal. It's so formal. I'd been to networking events where I walked in and people were already clustered up. They already knew people. And it wasn't welcoming to say like, oh, we already know each other, so let me turn and welcome you into our space. And it was a really bad experience. And so, for years I was like, I don't want to network. And it's interesting when you meet people who have more of the mindset of, no, let's just meet other people that are kind of doing the same types of things we're doing, not the same industry or anything like that necessarily, but it's more like, let's just get to know one another and see if we can help each other. Because, for anyone that is out there as a solopreneur like me, it's lonely. You work by yourself for yourself. It's like, oh, great, I get to go to a client today so I can, have a conversation with people. It really, having a group that you can network with and talk about business needs and understand, like, oh, hey, have you guys ever had this happen to you before? Because this is something that came up for me. And not be, okay, I've handed out 25 business cards. That's my quota for today, so I can make sure I've got enough networking done. So I think, starting out, it was scary and it was icky, but I've found spaces where people like to network how I like to network, which is building relationships, getting to know one another.
Yeah, and that's obviously awesome that that's able to be.
Yeah, and I do. When you put it like that, I really I like that this is establishing, right? Because capitalism has eroded what is or was community, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And now you have to intentionally provide these spaces for people to actually connect on a human level that isn't a bar or a church.
Yeah.
Right. And so I love the concept of this. That being said, now I am going to ask what these meetings, the ones that you run, how many people, demographic makeup, etc. Just because I'm nosy.
Yeah, I mean, so the one that I run, it's pretty new. So Women Belong is a global organization, but the founders are here in the Chicagoland and suburban areas. But the one on the south side, we're pretty small right now, which is great. It's all women that attend. And you don't have to necessarily have your own business. Most women do, but a lot of times if they're in a capacity where they need to get clients, salespeople, no, but it could be someone that's a local esthetician that needs clientele so that she can give more facials. That would be a great member, because then it's like, well, who doesn't know some women that love some skincare? We all do. Yes. So it's more that even though she may not own the company she represents, she's still in charge of growing her client base. So, a lot of times it's women business owners or people that need to grow a client base organically in the area.
And I suppose that's that's a pretty easy, straightforward one. If you are any kind of service industry worker, yep, like that, I that's a pretty straightforward, especially the example you gave as esthetician. Like, well, walking into a room full of women is the perfect place to
absolutely
do business.
Not that men can't have great skincare, but
no, but generally, who's paying for estheticians? Right. Like, I certainly could use the hair pulled out of my nose and ears and eyebrows and so on and so forth. But I guess what are less direct people who come in looking for, what's somebody coming in with a more kind of abstract thing? How, are you just referring people to people? Like, is that just the whole name of the game? Or
yeah, this is a great question. So not necessarily, because we've had, as you guys probably know just from hanging out in Bridgeport, when you do, there's a lot of event spaces, a lot of newer event spaces, a lot of refurbished event spaces that we've all been to, and a lot of times the owners or managers of those event spaces, so they're not trying to sell themselves, they're trying to get people to come to their event, or they're trying to grow a base that would say, I actually want to have my wedding reception there, or I want to, some of the women, one of the members owns a garage, a do-it-yourself garage. So if you've got a car and you want to work on your car, or you want to learn how to work on your car, great. You go to their workspace right off of 35th Street. You have a membership and you can drive your car into that garage and learn how to work on it. Like,
Yeah, awesome.
this is something where it is a service, but it's more of a specialty service that it's not, maybe something we think of automatically of, insurance, real estate,
Right.
it's like in most networking groups, you're going to have those individuals, and that's great. We all need those. But it's interesting because going back to that vibe, different groups based on where they are and what they have in their community can kind of generate what types of individuals want to become members.
Well, I love the specific example that you gave, and I think that you're providing something that's probably like really, really helpful to businesses like that, because like what you're talking about, DIY garage where you pull in and I'll show you how to do your brakes, whatever. Like that's something that like the community actually benefits from, that individuals actually benefit from, but it's a business that is not an obvious revenue generator.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're actually a nonprofit, so that's and they do a lot of education in the school systems. They want to get more people into
the goddamn trades, kids. Learn the goddamn trades, kids.
Yes.
Yearn for the mines.
I think it's interesting. We thought, the sentiment about AI when it was still just a twinkle in our eye was, it couldn't possibly replace like artists. Robots are going to replace the factory workers first. No, it's the exact fucking opposite.
Yeah.
The thing that is the most difficult to do is to get a robot to show up to your house and fix your sink.
Yes.
So do that.
Yep.
Yeah. Trade work. It's always out there. All right. We are getting close to the end of the show here. I do have one final question for you, Kirsten.
Yes.
What's the most interesting business that you've come across in these networking scenarios?
Wow. I mean, it's really hard because there's so many different areas and industries that I'm just always fascinated by. I think, a recent person that guested at our networking group, hopefully she'll be joining soon. She has an event space, but she also has Molly's Cupcakes is her brand. So she's doing wholesale baking. She's doing Molly's Cupcakes for the retail. She's got this gorgeous event space in Bridgeport. And so it's just fascinating to me, not only the business aspect of it, but her drive to do 3 different business models within one. And she is so high energy. And so I'm just like, this person might be AI. She may never see I'm not.
We are seeing real life AI doing all this.
Indeed.
Stuff. That's crazy to do that many things in one spot.
Indeed.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's always something that blows my mind. Because obviously nobody wants to work for somebody else. You want to have your own thing, but then you sit down and realize, oh boy, that is a lot of shit I gotta do.
Yeah. And then to do that across multiple business lines that are not, they're related but not. So it's fascinating to me.
It really is. On that note, if anybody wants to pay us to keep doing this, please do.
Indeed, yes.
We have no prospects of anything, but please pay us money. If we
and
don't,
not,
we'll take it.
And not just paying us to keep quiet like usual.
Yeah. Yeah, stop with the hush money. We're not going to shut up.
You can't be bought in that way.
Actually, I'd like to amend that. We can be bought. If you want us to stop talking, send us money and we'll stop talking.
Lots and lots of money.
We're ready to sell out.
Oh, looks like our network space did something. We got to streamboo.com.
Hey,
yeah.
All right.
Remove the space.
Remove the space.
Love it.
We're getting the word out there. Well, this has been enlightening.
Good.
I just keep coming back in my head of that sales workshop I did, and that's what comes to my head when you say networking is like all these bad people
I know.
just
And
trying to sell you
that's what
everything.
a lot of people think of when they hear the term networking. It sounds, and most of us have had experiences where it's been awful.
Mhm.
And so I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, well, I think that you're doing the world a great service in that regard, because I think that anyone who has had any sort of experience in corporate America, just work in general, you've probably been in one of these situations where
sure.
it's just a lot of people saying a lot of nothing. And you're like, boy, is this a fucking waste of time. So to actually set out with intention is cool.
Yeah.
It is. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Kirsten. We really, really appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you want to plug while you're here?
Well, first of all, thanks so much, guys. This has been so much fun. I really appreciate you having me on. So thank you. I would love to plug that if you ever want to check out anything more on the work that I do, feel free to visit elevateperformance.net. That's my website. You can see all the things that I do professionally on there, and then some. And then you can also find me at kramos25 on Twitter. So I'd love to connect with you if I'm not already connected. Thanks so much, guys.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, folks. You can find her there. You can look up her business, and you know what? Maybe hire her. Maybe she's got something for you. She sounds like she knows what she's talking about, at least to me. So I'm sure to our millions of viewers, you probably got them into the space where they want to network now. So we're all here for that. We'll be back on Thursday with Askcasts. So we'll have a little kind of 4th of July show that I've put together. So come and tune in for that. If you're not doing anything, I'm sure a lot of people will be out of town by then, but we'll be here on the internet for you if you need us. So thanks again to Kirsten. Thank you, everybody who watched along. Please hit the like button if you haven't. Subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you on Thursday. Have a good night, everybody.